Sir. Everybody's good? Can we say your first and last name?
My first name is Jerry, and it's spelled G-E-R-R-Y. Last name Blair, B-L-A-I-R. I am a public information officer for the Coconino County Sheriff's Office.
Okay, just give us an update on kind of where things sit at this point.
At this point right now, we're at about 400 acres. We have evacuated 3 neighborhoods, and the good news is we're hearing that the fire is moderating, which means we're not seeing as much torching or spotting as we were initially. They're not calling it contained at this point, but it is certainly moderating.
Is it so? It grew pretty fast, though, didn't it?
It grew fast. Went from about 4 acres to where we're at right now, 400 acres. And the thing that caused us a lot of concern was that it's in very close proximity to a number of housing areas. One in the county that's called the Harold Ranch Estates, the Coconino County Humane Shelter, that we had to take all the dogs out of there and remove them to another shelter, as well as the Sonawa Heights neighborhood that's located within the city of Flagstaff. We have several other neighborhoods that are on standby to be evacuated, but we've not given that order at this point.
We've heard some reports of transient camps in the area where it started. Can you tell us a little about that?
What I'm being told right now is that Flagstaff firefighters believe they may have determined a possible point of origin. And Flagstaff police officers are right now speaking with a person that they're calling a person of interest.
Tell us, what information do they believe that person has?
All I know is what I told you about that, is that they are speaking with a person. That person's being called a person of interest. That's all the information I have on that.
The point of origin being a campground, or is it a...
I haven't been given information on what the cause is yet, but that they believe they're close to the point of origin.
How many personnel do you think you have on scene in terms of, and what agencies are working on this?
I'm being told somewhere between 60 to 80, and of course the major player is going to be the United States Forest Service. We also have Flagstaff Fire Department, Summit Fire Department, Highlands Fire Department, and the good news was that this came right on the heels of the Eagle Rock Fire, which meant we had a lot of resources in the area. We had a lot more air resources on this thing. We had 3 helicopters, 2 tankers, a spotter plane, and we had them on there within a half an hour of the origin of the fire, which is great news because the air attack really seems to be helping. A lot of our ground resources came from that Eagle Rock fire as well. So we've got a lot of people out there working on this fire.
Talk about what exactly your strategy is with it. Is it mainly on the ground, or how are you both?
I think the strategy is both an attack from the ground, and as I said, we've got a lot of resources in the air, and as you can see, they're flying over us right now, and they're just going back and forth and working it from the air.
In terms of the evacuations, I mean, what are we looking at as far as how many people we might be looking at, or how?
We don't have an exact count. I've heard somewhere around, probably with all the neighborhoods, or somewhere around 200.
And where are they supposed to go?
They're going to a school called Mount Eldon Middle School. Red Cross has opened up an evacuee center. We want all the folks, even if they self-evacuate, before they go anywhere else, we'd like them to at least go to that shelter and report in, and that's on 4th Street.
Where's this fire at?
The fire is between Pine Canyon and the Harold Ranch Estates.
What are you looking at for moving forward here tonight, as far as what you want to see, what you're hoping for, what you kind of need to see to get some containment here?
Obviously, there's no containment being called at this point, but the fact that it's moderating, that the winds are dying down, that certainly is positive. And that's basically all we're being told from the fire right now.
Because, well, it's typical at night. The fire's typical to lie down a little bit more at night, and then, so are you able to do much at night then, or are you trying to wait it out till morning, or what?
No, probably the air attack will be suspended when it gets dark, but as far as the folks on the ground, there'll still be people out there all night working on this.
How are the evacuations being taken out?
I'm sorry?
How are the evacuations being handled? Are you going door to door? How are those being handled?
We're doing it from a number of sources. We're going door to door. We also have a reverse 911 system called Ready Coconino, where we actually will call people, and basically they get a tape-recorded message telling them of the impending evacuations. So we have different ways of doing that. We're also using the local media to help us get the word out to the community.
What's your biggest challenge with this fire?
I think the high winds. Obviously, that was a challenge with the Eagle Rock fire. Certainly been a challenge with this fire.
How's the weather looking for the next couple of days? Have you guys had a chance to look?
Karen, do you know the forecast for the weather?
No, I don't.
I don't have that right now.
We'll take a look then. Okay.
Jerry, can you tell us a little bit more about the Red Cross operations at the school? What are they prepared for, and what are they? Paint us a picture as to what's going on down there.
And a lot of times when you have evacuations, depending on what kind of area you evacuate, a lot of these folks that are leaving from neighborhoods that are located within this area will have support groups around here. So it's very likely that they won't choose to go to the evacuation center and stay there. They'll have a family member or somebody else that they can stay with. But the Red Cross is set up with cots and with food provisions and other types of things where they can shelter people right there, and they can shelter them overnight for several days.
What are some of the plans? And we've heard that all the firefighters were recalled off duty. How about recovery for those firefighters? Are there additional resources on the way?
Yes, they have ordered, I was told at one point they had ordered a Type 2 team to come in. They've also, last I heard, they had ordered an additional 10 engines. So they are continually ordering additional resources.
What number can people call for more information about this?
And I've got that number for you, and we can get it for you.
Do you want to step on in? Or?
Yeah.
Well, here, well,
Yeah.
well, yeah, take our phone number.
A call center has been set up by the City of Flagstaff and Coconino County. Folks can call 888-679-8393 to get information as it develops.
And your first and last name and position?
This is Karen Malice Clark. I'm the Deputy Public Affairs Officer with the Coconino National Forest. In incidences like this, we all work together cooperatively, so the Forest Service is assisting the City of Flagstaff and Coconino County.
I have one more question. I'm not sure who would want to handle it. I mean, just putting into perspective the proximity of this fire. I mean, is this the closest we've seen a fire here in Flagstaff? You know, the most imminent sort of danger, so to speak, we've seen in some time, or can you put it into perspective for?
I think this is the closest major wildfire incident to the City of Flagstaff since the Woody Fire.
Yes.
Which was in June of how many years ago?
It's like 4 years ago. Maybe.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, which was on the west side of Flagstaff. Very similar in response, a very well coordinated interagency effort with law enforcement, all kinds of firefighting resources responding also to that.
With this one, how close do you think this fire has actually made it to a structure? I mean, what's the closest?
I think it's become within a half mile to a mile of some of those neighborhoods.
That people nervous? I mean, what kind of response do you get? A lot of people. I mean,
but on the other hand, it's so close into town. It's easy to get to. Fire crews, I think, were on the scene within minutes of when it was reported this afternoon.
so that's going to make a big difference for you, I think, the time.
Karen, you guys have had your hands busy, obviously, with this other fire that's going on right now. Tell us how that played a part in the response with this fire.
This time of year is known to be active as far as fire season, and a couple of major fires in northern Arizona are pretty much the norm for wildfire activity. The fact that there was another rather large fire incident just northwest of Flagstaff probably did play a role in making some of those firefighting resources available to be reassigned to this fire.
Are you going to be doing another? How are you going to handle media? So are you going to be doing a briefing